Status is the promise of maxing out all 5 of those categories. All right. Status is giving the illusion or the promise because you're really not sure. Okay. But the illusion of it is there. Status in and of itself, by itself, isn't necessarily what's making a girl attracted, right? And let me explain that. Okay, so what does status represent? Well, status represents some social proof, status of that this guy's, you know, cool or whatever, right? Status kind of represents an ability to get aid from, we'll say, the community at a higher level. All right. Now we're talking hindbrain instinct stuff. We're talking chimpanzee stuff, right? So I say chimpanzee because we're really meaning like the mammalian brain and instincts, things that are instinctually will drive a girl towards you. All right. So instinctually, when a woman sees a guy who has status, let's say Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, right? All right. So Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, not that he watches my show, but no offense, Leonardo, he's not necessarily like this massively hot, good-looking dude right now. He could be. I mean, I feel like he gets back in the gym and gets to get like he could be. He's got the genetic capabilities of being really good looking. He definitely was when he was younger and everything, but now he's kind of doesn't care, right? He doesn't need to really care about that so much, you know. So he's not dialing his physique in, you know what I mean? He's got some height on him and stuff, and that's good. And he's got, like I said, good genetic markers for attraction, but that's not why women go to him, right? I mean, if he was not Leonardo DiCaprio sitting in, let's say, a coffee place with his goofy beard or whatever, you know, just you know, and maybe hungover from a party last night or something, most girls wouldn't be paying him any mind. You know what I mean? He'd be like an average guy, pretty much, or maybe slightly above average. Women flock to him because of who he is. The fact that he is Leonardo DiCaprio, women will flock to him, right? And that's what status does. But why is that so powerful? I mean, to the hindbrain, it's like, okay, you can get more attention and clout, if you will, which transfers to resources, favors, and so on in the society you're around. And that's one instinctual reason for women to gravitate towards a guy with status. But that's can't be the only reason, because status is really one of the most powerful markers of attraction. By itself, it almost doesn't make sense until we break it down a bit, because I mean, status is almost like, you know, a girl's PhD. You know, we joke around, well, we're not going to try to bang her PhD, right? It's nice that she went through the education and it says that she's smart and has some discipline and all that, but really, do we care? You know, most men don't care about a girl's education level that much. They're interested in what she looks like and how she makes them feel, right? So it's almost like, in a way, like when you think about it, it's like, why is status so powerful? But yet it is. Like, girls will, and I'm not saying all women, so don't let your anxiety go through the roof, okay? But girls will break their relationships and cheat just to have one night with a high status man, you know? A girl who has a boyfriend or whatever, especially if she's younger, you know, if she's under 25, a pretty girl will, you know, if a blue check mark is in her Instagram and says, let me fly out and have you for a weekend, she's flying out so she can brag to her friends that she had this guy. She may have a boyfriend, she may have, you know, kids with the guy, she may have a lot going on, and she's still getting in that plane. You know, I mean, it's one of the most powerful things that can break up a relationship. Girls, you know, have jokes about, well, who's my guy I would sleep with in Hollywood? You know, who's my free pass, you know? And girls like to say to guys, oh, yeah, you'd have a free pass with, you know, let's say Scarlett Johansson or somebody, right? And yes, or Jessica Alba or something. You have a free pass with with that. Well, she'll say that because, you know, then she's thinking, I'll have a free pass with the local guy in the band, that plays at the bar on Fridays, probably, right? So it is a bit of a red flag. If they got backstage passes, or if they got an opportunity, again, not all women, all right, but a lot of women, okay, just because of status, she'll sleep with these guys, and guys who, and I've talked to people who are at celebrity level, and different things about these issues, and it's like, yeah, like guys, unattractive guys who would be unattractive to everyone else, she'll sleep with that guy. You know what I mean? And so just for clout, right? It's like she'll sleep with the ugly guy just because he plays in a band and he's got clout. Rollo talked about that. You know what I mean? When he was in his days of traveling around and playing in bands, he would have girls interested in him just because he's the guitar player, right? So what is it that triggers that in a girl's brain so hard? It's more than looks, it seems like. It's more than like his alphaness or even his money. It seems to be more than his money, right? Everyone, the guy that pulls up in a Lambo and those, a lot of them contrived videos, right? But that pulls up and, gets a girl, because he's got this car. It's not the money. He didn't just drive up and say, hey, look at my bank account, so now let's go on a date. That's not it. The Lambo represents a status, right? A certain status or that he is. He must be somebody important because he signals or he drives this vehicle. And she's willing to sleep with the guy because of that, like right away. And it's interesting to look at why that might be, right? And so here's what I deduced. We got to look at hypergamy for a minute, all right? I've broken up hypergamy. This is different than what you're going to get outside of my channel, okay? Because this is thing I kind of got from connecting some dots from the counseling world. So hypergamy, you guys know what that is. Girl is looking for the best deal she can get, right? Now we tend to look at, okay, alpha, beta, whatever, and those dynamics, strategic pluralism, they call it in evolutionary psychology. Well, I've looked at what's been determined by 5 categories that makes a woman select a mate, okay? So when a woman decides to sleep with somebody, she's doing it along 5 categories because yes, she wants the best that she can do, but what? The best tennis shoes, the best, the best watch collection, you know what I mean? Like the best comic book collection. Like, sorry, her hypergamy is not directed towards your comic book collection, guys. It'd be good if it was for some of you, but it's just not, right? So best what? And then you got guys that are like in certain, with their own issues usually. Like we'll call them the black pill types, right? Who are like, oh, it's only this. They try to make it binary. It's just height. And they try to misinterpret statistics and go, oh, she's only attracted, like it's only she's only attracted to height. And that's stupid. It's not height. You know what I mean? It's not just one thing. It's not your D size. I've determined 5 categories. All right. So we have to deduce what to get a predictive framework on an evolutionary level. What does that hindbrain, what does that instinctual brain cause? Like, where are her attraction triggers on an instinctual level for her to deduce that this guy is the best she can do, hypergamously? And so 5 categories: sex, sexual desire, sexual needs. Okay. So that's both the feeling of sex, being good at sex, but also that's also everything that entails. That's your looks. Okay. That's your genetic markers. That's your deep voice. That's your seductive calibrated behaviors. Sex. Okay. That's one category. Next category would be emotions or emotional draw. That's not your emotions towards her, but her emotions towards you in terms of intensity and feeling drawn to you. So sometimes she could have anxiety over you, you know what I mean? And she could have, confusion and a lot of different emotions, but she's drawn to you and they're very intense. And she's, sex is involved with that too, right? So it's emotions, her draw to you. They can be comforting emotions sometimes, but sometimes they're not necessarily comforting. It's just what causes her to want you on an emotional level, emotional scale. So we have sexual needs, emotional needs. Third thing is security needs. Now, security needs we could split into two things. All right. Security could mean can beat ass. All right. So are you able to protect her? That's part of security. Can you procure or get resources? So resources was met. That's also part of security. Humor is interesting. Thanks for mentioning that, John. I will address humor in a minute. Okay. So security could be getting resources or beating ass. That's more on the alpha side of security. Now, more of the beta need side of security would be, are you willing to spend those resources on her? So that would be all part of security. Security is kind of a big bracket there. All right. Then the fourth thing would be paternity. All right. So paternity is, are you a good dad? Are you good dad material? When a good looking guy is holding a puppy and all the chicks go, and think he's cute. Also, that's that fourth category. He's signaling that he's good dad stock, you see, and that's more on the beta side as well. Right. But what about number 5? So number 5 is the fifth one is legacy. So legacy is basically, are you going to kick her to the curb when she hits the wall for a younger model? Are you going to cheat on her? Are you going to discard her? Or are you going to take care of her as she ages or when she's pregnant and so on and so forth? Are you going to be a good legacy partner? So those are the 5 things that a woman's hindbrain is using to vet out whether a guy is the best. All right. And so this is where women get themselves in trouble with their selection because they're unaware of these 5 things. That's been proven time and time again. Minus, of course, we have a couple ladies in the chat, at least one I noticed. I know there's a couple more usually that are trying to be more aware of this stuff. But the average person, okay, the average woman, and they've done this study, they literally put it to study time and time again. Most women are unaware of what draws them to someone sexually. They're unaware of what makes them attracted to somebody. And we know this. We see this all the time. It was a way that a woman would protect herself, right? Yeah. So those are the 5 categories. Now, where she is in life, where she is age-wise, will kind of determine which one or two of those things are in the forefront of her brain, right? So like when she's 21 years old and partying and having fun, that could be like she's really more interested in what? Sex and emotions, right? And this is why 21-year-old girls are crazy. 18, 19, 20-year-old girls, they're nuts, right? They're like, crying about one guy 1 minute, banging another guy when she's drunk the next. I mean, they're all like they're out of control. And it's because their hormones are crazy and their body's telling them to get pregnant with the biggest a-hole she can find. And for her, it's all hotness, right? And genetic markers. She's hot. She's getting all the attention. And then she's looking for genetic markers. You know what I mean? So it's like looking at genetic markers in sexual needs, right? Sexual draw. It's purely that, you know what I mean? And that's sort of driving. She's not looking to get married and have a kid yet at 20 years old, let's say. Although in her hindbrain, that's still operating. She'll still think it's cute or adorable when a guy does paternity signals, but that's not that's not the deciding factor for whether or not she sleeps with a guy, right? But then we can look at that shift, let's say when she's about 28 years old and she knows the impending doom of 30 is coming. What happens? She evaluates her life and realizes of all of her bad decisions and choosing to sleep with assholes and, of course, making bad choices. And so then she shifts and she sort of usually will suppress the sexual side of her a bit to try to find a long-term partner. This is when she starts making a guy wait for sex. This is when she, starts looking for those good dad qualities and a guy with what? A good job, money, right? All those things. So now security and paternity become in the forefront when she's thinking about having a family, and she ends up marrying the guy who she's not the most sexually attracted to or the most emotionally drawn to. and it ends up being a dead bedroom relationship and ending up a divorce later. So you can see how among these categories, where she is in life, that determines how she's making her mating decisions. This will apply to status, I promise. All right. So then we get, I mean, what if she's 42 years old and, her kids are older, she's been, divorced or whatever. What's she looking for at 42 years old? Well, she's looking for a legacy partner. Now, when she's first single, she might go be a cougar and bang a bunch of dudes at the bar or jump on Tinder or whatever, right? Because she's going to those sexual needs will be in the forefront in the beginning. She's going to have some fun, go on the Eat, Pray, Love tour, all that good, cool feminist stuff, right? And then after she's done with that, she's going to go, holy crap, I need to try to find a legacy partner, right? And so then that's what she does, right? And so now she's vetting. So if you're dating some of my older clients who are dating like 40, women who are over their 40s, if they're not in that newly divorced, I'm going to go get laid a bunch phase with some younger guys, what happens, and again, not every woman does all these things, okay? But this is just where some of the tendencies can be, and you see these trends, and I'm explaining why the trends are there. Yeah, what happens, right? She's looking for a guy who's a good legacy partner. So she's concerned about security needs, right? She wants a guy who can at least take care of himself and who's going to be loyal and who's not going to dump her, if he finds someone hotter. And so that's kind of like what's going on there, right? With that. And so she's, depending on where she is in her life, whatever, that's going to kind of determine which one of these 5 characteristics is in her forefront of her brain driving the decisions. But here's the thing about hypergamy. She has to satisfy all 5 of those to the best she's ever experienced. And when she's in that, if she's trying to be in a long-term relationship, she has to satisfy them eventually, and believe that she satisfies those as far as the best she can do, right? So what does that mean? Remember, I didn't put a dollar amount on security. So a guy who makes, let's say, $75,000 a year can make a woman feel just as secure as a guy who makes $500,000 a year, right? Granted, $500,000 a year guy is going to have more stuff in a higher lifestyle, but that doesn't necessarily translate to security. That's something that she'll gravitate towards, because who wouldn't want more stuff and more money? But in terms of sexual decision making, that's going to depend where her triggers are and where she's at and what her lifestyle's like. If she's a girl on Seeking Arrangements and an OnlyFans girls or something, she might marry a guy just for money that she's not attracted to, right? That could be in the forefront. And her big then thing is security, right? But then she's looking still to get those other needs met in some other way. This is something worth understanding, because when you're with a girl and you're dating her or whatever, you can assess where she is in her decision making and what's going to be a driver for her to want to continue to see you, right? Or to want to see you at all. So, the young 20-something girl is probably out to have a good time and not thinking long term. So we're talking sex and emotions, right? Whereas you're going to get, if you're on, let's say, Match.com or something, where the women tend to be older, they're looking for legacy partners, and they're going to vet you out via the text exchange before you guys meet up, more than just want to get a good laugh and some emotions over your text, where you can send her a few memes, a couple sexual innuendos when she's interested. And I mean doing that in a calibrated way, not the way some of you guys would do it. And then boom, she's meeting up and you're having a one night lay, you know what I mean? Because she liked your photos or whatever, you liked hers and you made her laugh. Now, someone asked about humor. Okay, well, humor falls into a couple of things. Humor is actually a alpha characteristic, because being alpha as social animals doesn't just mean being able to beat ass and be strong and be genetically powerful. Okay. Part of being powerful, all right, is also being socially aware and being able to socially maneuver. Because remember, even if we look at primates, right, if the biggest, strongest chimp isn't always the alpha of the tribe, because sometimes the biggest, strongest chimp isn't benevolent enough or is kind of a dick and a couple weaker males will form an alliance, outs him from his position, and then another leader will take place that's actually physically weaker but has more social support. And we see that all the time with people. You know, you see the big tough guy is not always the leader. He can sometimes get ousted because other people are more socially maneuverable. Well, if you can make a bunch of people laugh, if you can have a sense of humor, and you can literally change the mood of people around you through your humor, that also demonstrates kind of a, outcome independent mindset and not being razzed or being able to be pushed off center by other people. If you have a good sense of humor, that kind of demonstrates that quality. Doesn't mean everyone who has a good sense of humor is actually alpha, but it's a trait that's alpha, right? And so it can signal that. And what does it do? Emotions, right? Remember, it's just emotionally drawing to you. That's that category of emotions. It's not necessarily wanting to cuddle with you. She may just want to laugh, have a good time, have a drink or two, and then just have some sex with you, right? And that's it. Doesn't mean she wants to hold your hand in the park. When I say emotions, I don't necessarily mean just comfort emotions. It could be comfort emotions, but it could be other ones. The key is its intensity of the emotions, and in those emotions drawing her to you. So as long as they're intense and they draw her to you, sometimes anxiety and even being angry at you can draw her to you. That's what I mean when I say emotions, right? So people have a hard time. Well, humor kind of falls in that category. And it also is an alpha signal, a signal of being intelligent and a signal of being socially maneuverable. That alpha signal falls in the sex category as well. So because if you're genetically things that signal that you're genetically better than other people, that would signal that you're going to create a better baby than the next guy. That's where her sexual attraction will go. All right. So the sex part is those markers, right? So how does humor make a girl, like you can literally make a girl laugh into the bedroom, y'all? You can do that all the way. Why does that work? Well, that works because that is a signal of intelligence and social maneuverability, and it stimulates emotions. So it's an alpha trait. And so that is signals to her body is getting the signal that if you have babies with this guy, you're going to have a smarter, more socially maneuverable kid versus this person who has a sucky sense of humor and can't make her laugh. You know what I mean? So that's how that works with humor. Now let's back it up and get into status, right? Because that was the original topic. The reason why status is the most powerful marker, one of the most powerful markers that will cause a girl to sleep with somebody, is because,
let's face it, if you're a man, then you are probably dealing with problems and challenges with women. Now, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. Your success with women literally boils down to one thing. The bad news is, if you don't have it, nothing else will work. All of the money, good looks, and all of the best pickup and game skills out there will fail without you mastering this one thing. And that one thing is frame. The answers to ending your pain and suffering and to start living an amazing life with women is just one click away. Click the link and let's get started.
Status is the promise of maxing out all 5 of those categories. All right. Status is giving the illusion or the promise because you're really not sure. Okay. But the illusion of it is there that this guy's going to be awesome in bed, right? Stimulate those emotions. He's this high value, high status guy. So that must all be there. He's got the resources because status and resources usually go hand in hand. So he can have security, provide security, right? He can, take care of a kid or whatever, probably has kind enough. He has kindness signals and the signals that would make him a good dad, which are also part of those social signals. And then, of course, you have, whether or not he's a legacy partner really remains to be said for status. But girls will have, legacy partner is more of a beta comfort trait, right? That's a long-term vetting trait. When she wants short-term sex, That's more the alpha stuff. That's your sex category. Some parts of the security stuff are, where we're talking about physical security and procuring resources and opportunity, right? And then, of course, stimulating those emotions, making those emotions go. So, status, what is status? That's a question. Well, it's very good. Well, first of all, status to her hindbrain is the promise of satisfying those categories I just mentioned that would make her want to sleep with you. Also coupled with the idea that she will get more social proof herself by sleeping with that guy. So a woman that sleeps with a high status male and beats out her other girlfriends because the lead singer wants to sleep with her and not her girlfriends, and then she can brag about it later. That signals, okay, in a primal sense, think tribal times and stuff, that signals that she's of better quality than all of her friends and therefore should be able to secure a better partner than her friends, right? Long-term partner. So even though sleeping with that guy one time doesn't reward her that much in the large scheme of things, it doesn't seem like it would, at least sexually, maybe not. And a lot of these high status people are really bad at sex. I know that sounds weird, but it's actually true. How do I know this? Because I've dated girls who've been with high status people, and it kind of makes sense. They don't care and they don't have to try, and they have easy access to sex. So they're not interested in really making her have a good time. So they're just kind of aloof. They don't care about it. You know what I mean? Especially throw some drugs or alcohol in the mix. It's just like, it's not the best sex they're ever having. It's usually them jumping on the guy to try to get validation. You know what I mean? And yes, actually, that's an interesting point. Moff says hot girls suck in bed often. That is correct. And for the same reason, they're not motivated to please their partners. Okay. So yeah. So what's the payoff? Well, the payoff is she gets to brag about it, which then in the hindbrain, right, in the unconscious sort of in the firmware, it's like, well, if I can get this guy that's high status and is this high value guy that's better than all these other guys, then that must mean that I'm a better girl, high value girl, and therefore should have more access to better mates. And oftentimes that tends to be true. Her confidence goes up, and that allows her to shoot higher and for better dudes, even if she's not necessarily better looking or not necessarily a better person. Her, by confidence alone, she'll shoot her shot and put herself in the girl way of doing it, using girl game, which is putting herself in orbit of higher value men, and she ends up with more sexual opportunity. Those men will feel threatened because higher value guys have wanted her, and that will make them want her more, which brings up another point: clout chasing women. So avoid this as a man. Think outside of this. Red pill yourself with this right now. Don't clout chase women, okay? Status is the thing that men want too, because status means that you can be more socially maneuverable and have more opportunities and more resources, all the good things, right? So status for you as a man is a concept. That's something you end up wanting. But what will happen is guys will, I say, clout chase girls. And in other words, let's say you go into a bar or something, right, or whatever, and you have 10 different single girls there, let's say. And one of the girls looks like just is totally signaling, putting it out there, ton of makeup, boobs pressed together. She's getting all the attention, signaling all the attention. Some guys are going to want to get her because she gets attention. So they feel they want to use her to elevate their own status. If I get this girl who's hot and everyone's looking at, then my status goes up as well. So the guy's hindbrain, he's doing that. He's clout chasing. We see this. I'll mention the Fresh and Fit podcast here with my good friend. Well, not really good friend, but I know, we've had some great interactions in our past. Myron over there. And then we got, that podcast. Well, they bring in what? A bunch of Instagram girls usually, right? Or bartenders or chicks around Miami. I'm going to tell you, a lot of those girls are not that attractive in my opinion, or they're okay, but there's hotter girls wearing, Carhartt somewhere in middle America who don't have an Instagram. You see what I mean? It's just not within their social circle. There's hotter girls that are in your like hometown or whatever. And I say hotter, I mean, you get their clothes off, you get their makeup off, you're going to do the deed, and they're hotter, right? Um, Girls that clean the rooms, dude, that is no joke. I've seen some girls that clean rooms that I am like, yup. Actually, I've hooked up with girls who've cleaned rooms because some of them are gorgeous, man. How about girls from other countries, like girls that are cleaning rooms from South America, like Colombia, Costa Rica? Man, beautiful Hispanic women, right? And they don't even have, it's like they're not even all over social media. They're not clout chasing. Guys will ignore that girl and they'll simp and send $100 to some OnlyFans girls because she's putting herself out there, and because other men desire her, they want to get her so that they can feel better about themselves. In my opinion, I don't know really on a lot of what I say is backed by science and stuff. This is just though in evolutionary psychology and some of the things they match well. I don't know if this my statement I'm about to say matches well, but I'm going to say, like, in my opinion, clout chasing women seems pretty weak ass and pretty beta, right? Like, if you're going for a girl just because other guys want her and because she gets attention, not necessarily because of her sexual attractiveness when where it counts, which is in the bedroom, or her attractiveness as a person and how she is as a person and how much fun you can have with her. You know, if those aren't the reason you're going for her and you're going for her because other men want her, that's pretty weak ass, in my opinion. But someone said high school, I feel like. Seems like high school shit. Dude, I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what happens in high school. High school kids, they're not emotionally or mentally mature enough yet to understand what's going on. Not that adults are either, but you know, it's like that's what happens in high schools a lot of times. Because what'll happen is like you'll see it. You get the popular girls, and then because other guys want them and they're socially popular, you know, the guys want them. But then you have girls who are the nerd girl or the girl who's not as popular, who may be even hotter, right? I remember there were some I mean, by high school standards, so calm down, everybody. But by when I was in high school, and there were girls that to me were just better looking, more gorgeous, and they turned out to be that way too, interestingly enough, than the girls who were popular and had all the guys after them. But it's clout chasing. All right. And so status affects men too. Weaker men, weaker men want to chase status because they're not secure in their own accomplishments. I mean, everybody wants status a little bit as a guy, but for what? I don't care if you admire me for my material things or my stuff. I feel like that's weak. Or because my girl's hot. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Or because I got the hot girl versus the girl that's hotter than the hot girl, but you didn't know, she's not signaling as much. You get what I mean? Like that to me is a very odd concept. I feel like that's a very weak concept. I feel like you have to be empty inside or you need social validation from everybody else. My status to me, I want that to come from my accomplishments. So I want people to know me, like me, trust me, respect me for the things that the dent I'm making in the universe, the things that I'm actually doing versus what some chick thinks about me. You get what I mean? To me, I feel like that's a little bit more elevated. You guys can decide in the chat what you think. Maybe hit the like button or something if you agree. All right. So be careful though, because that is a trap. I've seen guys chase the girl who is signaling, but what's about the girl who's signaling, right? That's red flags usually, isn't it? That's a girl who's usually got self-esteem issues, problems, especially if she's collecting money from guys as a sugar baby or on OnlyFans and collecting that kind of interest on social media, throwing pictures of her ass on Instagram to get likes. That stuff is very much a red flag, isn't it? But dudes will simp for that, chase after it because of their status. So first lesson here with status is get your own status in the world by your accomplishments, not by because someone wants to bang the girl you're with or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing. All right. Find a girl who's a good compliment to you, you know, and is a good partner and that's fun in bed, that you have a great time with, good experiences with, not some girl who everybody else wants to get with. I mean, and if everybody, sometimes that girl's the same girl and that's fine, but it needs to be the latter rather than, well, I feel cool because everyone wants her and I got her. So that makes me feel cool. Very weak position, in my opinion, right? Need to take yourself, we need to elevate ourselves up a little bit more than that as men. Now, let's talk then back to status. And now, what can you do about it, though? Because a lot of you guys don't, you know, and I don't necessarily think I have status. I mean, I'm not a celebrity, you know, like people are going to recognize Leonardo DiCaprio over me, you know, for example, using him as that example. So how do you use it? You know what I mean? How do you signal status to her without lying and BSing, without being a tryhard? Because that's what you'll happen here is you'll have dudes, right, who are just tryhards. They buy branded clothing, not because they like it, but because they're trying to signal. You know, they get the car that's, you know, that signals. They talk about how much money they make on dates because they're trying to signal status, right? They try to do the cool things like, and it's all cliche bullshit stuff, isn't it? You know, it's not like for example, like I'm a watch guy. All right. I'm wearing the James Bond Omega right now on my wrist. All right. The new one. It's not a cheap watch. Just got it. I'm super happy about it. Right. Why? I don't know. Why? Because I'm weird about watches. That's like my guilty pleasure. You're less, you're probably never, even if I was a billionaire, you're probably not going to see me like with 10 supercars ever in my life, but I probably have a stupid collection of watches. It's just my thing. Right. But girls don't care about this, man. They don't know what this is. So like they don't care. Like no girl is going to look at this and even know what this is. You know, they'll recognize Rolex, right? And that's why guys, what do guys do? They chase after Rolexes. Rolexes are fine. I got a Rolex too. All right. They're a fine watch, but they're also overpriced, overblown right now. Okay. If you look at that market right now, they're overblown. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, you do things you like, but girls, you know, they're not, you see the try hard guys, right? And so it's like, that's not signaling status, that's signaling weakness. And a girl can smell that weakness. Oh, they smell the weakness on the guy who's trying to signal status and he doesn't have it. It's a weak position. It's signaling to her that I'm not good enough with my traits and who I am, my skills in the bedroom, my skills at seduction, my value that I provide the world, all that good stuff. I'm not good enough to get you. So I have to signal status to try to trick you into it because status is an illusion and their hindbrain knows this. In other words, status, it doesn't mean anything in those 5 categories that actually means something. Like status doesn't mean you're actually going to get money, although it can. Status doesn't mean that you're a freaking monster in bed, right? That you're like that you're going to just crush, right? You know, status by itself doesn't mean you're going to be good in bed. Doesn't mean you're going to stimulate her emotions. Doesn't mean you'll be a good dad. Like all the things that her hindbrain gravitates to, it doesn't mean those things. It's the promise of those things. So status, in a sense, is an illusion, but it's a very powerful one. And so she can recognize and feel it, right? So at any rate, so now we're back to the what can you do about it thing. Some of you guys, you know, out there, you're not a celebrity, right? And so how do you not get your girl stolen by someone who is? So first of all, here's how you can do it in the beginning with game. You have necessarily no status, but all status is the promise of those 5 things. It doesn't mean that those things are actually there. And so a girl, well, to repeat this point for those of you who just arrived or those of you who need me to repeat it, okay? When a girl goes and sleeps with a guy very quickly for clout and status, it's because it's the promise that he could be those 5 things for her. You know, he can satisfy sexual, emotional, security, paternity, and legacy needs. However, doesn't matter to her, even if he doesn't, and even if it's just a one night stand or a weekend, because by being with that high status guy, she now gets status herself and bragging rights to secure another man who could increase her ability to get those 5 needs met through another man. So if she gives her that confidence and belief that, well, I slept with this celebrity, so that means I can get a guy that I can keep that isn't necessarily a celebrity, but that's a much higher status, a much higher level, we'll say, than the other guys have been dating. So it gives them the confidence. You see what I mean? It demonstrates, and that's right. So you guys are getting it in the chat, demonstrates the potential. And so that's why status is so powerful, and a girl will sleep with someone right away if they have it, because if they don't get their instinctual needs met from that guy, that's okay, because that elevates her level, at least in her own head, which allows her to get those instinctual needs met from a different guy. Remember, women love very pragmatically. Okay, never forget that. Not like you guys, or me for that matter, or anyone with a penis. Okay, so how do you work through that? Well, first of all, here's a good thing with social circle game and also having familiar places you go to meet women. So I would have places I would be a regular at. So let's look at what that does. If I'm a regular at a particular bar and I tip well and I go there frequently enough, the manager and owner knows me. We're buds. We've had shots together or something, or we've had good convos. The bartenders know me. The waitresses know me. What do you think happens then when I'm hanging out there and a new girl comes? They see the social clout that I have knowing these other people. Consciously, who cares, right? It's just bar people. Who gives a crap? But in her instinctual brain, in the part that makes her, gets her juices flowing, her instinctual brain says, oh, he must be somebody because people know him. This is why bartenders get laid all the time, right? A bartender serving someone drinks, girls sleep with that guy all the time, don't they? So it's signaling, right? So it's an easy way to do it is to be socially maneuverable and go in places where people know you, where your reputation precedes you, And so girls will want to sleep with you. They'll want to be near you because you know people at this bar. I was introduced to this when I was a bouncer and I didn't know anything about girls in my early 20s, right? When I was just starting to figure things out. All of a sudden, I become more sexually marketable because I can get them in the club, because girls so I get a girl in the club, then other girls want to get in the club too. But now other girls see other girls talking to me, and what happens? Now all of a sudden I'm sleeping with more girls, right? Like, wow, that's magic. Where'd that come from? Why are guys sleeping with the bouncer? It's the bouncer is nothing. Trust me, I was not anything other than a guy who could like punch somebody real hard when I was in my early 20s. Didn't have anything going for me. Game wasn't even all that good, right? But they were wanting to get laid by a person that they perceived in their brain as status. And a lot of these girls, even small town America, okay, get their clothes off. They're hotter than some Instagram girl a lot of the times. So it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? So that's how that works. So if you're kind of like on a lower end of value right now, first of all, bring your value up, but don't do it for a chick. Do it for you. Make some money for you, so you can have your weird hobbies like watches like that I have or whatever, and be happy. Make your dent in the universe. Do that stuff for you. That'll raise your status by itself. But, you got to date and you got to have fun while you're pursuing that, right? Get around people and when people know you, that will elevate your status. All right? Be that social person that people know, like, trust, want to be around. Girls will want to be with you. All right? Winging with girls actually works, as long as it's a girl who is not going to cock block you or screw you up or like goof on you. You know what I mean? So having girls around you, even if you're not sleeping with those girls, will make other girls want to be with you. Okay. So that's another status move. So these are some things that you can do. Now, in the relationship, status won't matter if you're blowing her out sexually and making her have strong emotions for you. She has strong emotions for you and she is sexually blown out of the water. And then those other needs when she gets to the age where it matters, where she cares about kids if she wants them, or security is a concern, legacy partner stuff, most girls are not going to go run off and cheat on their man, despite what this space says. Don't listen to it. It's BS. Most girls who are feeling like they're satisfied or at least have the promise of being happy in those 5 categories I mentioned with the guy they're with, they're not running off with the drummer. Okay. Most. All right. That's an illusion to get your anxiety up, and so you click and watch their videos, and they're bullshit. All right. We want to come down to reality and actually look at things.